Hi, my name's Emily. I am from Arnprior originally. Moved to Ottawa about 8 years ago now. What I like to do before I die, I would love to travel more of Canada, preferably hiking, doing camping, all of that. It's just a gorgeous country that I really haven't seen enough of, and I just want to explore it as much as I possibly can. And what would I like to get out of this program or being at Algonquin is the knowledge to be able to spread the word about our environmental issues that so many people don't really understand, don't have the means of an education, or have the means, just don't learn about it. I just want to be able to tell people the issues that we have and different ways of how to solve it. I'd also love to learn how to solve these problems. Maybe not just through this program, but advancing into the environmental technology program or anything like that. Um, well, the documentary that I chose is Garbage Warriors. Um, I chose it because I've actually already seen this documentary and I am fascinated with it. I find it just really intriguing what this man can do. Basically, it's about a man named Michael Reynolds who uses tires and pop cans and beer cans and plastic water bottles and things like that to build sustainable homes. He's reusing sources that people throw away constantly that are building up in landfills and building up everywhere and repurposing them into these self-sustainable homes. Um, Rating, I gave it about 4 out of 5. Reasoning is because, video quality is not the greatest, but the message behind it is pretty amazing. So what did I like about it? And what did I not like about it? Between it, I'm going to do it backwards. What I didn't like in the beginning was this whole documentary is basically about self-sustainability and reducing your ecological footprint. But as you watch through the video, there's just these big gas-guzzling trucks that are transporting supplies for these homes, just for these people's transportation in general. But then as you get to the end of it and right before the credits roll, there's a little disclaimer right before it, and it says, there's two. The one was the carbon output they made from this was basically balanced out and made carbon neutral by reforestation, which is awesome. And next, after that, it said that 80% of the trucks used in this movie and documentary were run off of old cooking oil, which is awesome. And I love that. Emotions that I felt. Oh, sorry. Never mind. What did I find most interesting? I wouldn't say it's interesting. It's just mind-blowing, the ignorance of people. Um, Basically, there's what this guy is doing. He used to be an architect. Um, if you've watched the movie, he gets his license revoked, and by the end he gets it back. But he's trying to pass a bill so that he can get test grounds for these homes. Because he needs to be able to test them to make sure that they're safe, they're going to work properly, and he's trying to pass this bill with the judicial court. And he gets turned down twice doing this. He keeps going, but you'll see if you watch it. And he's going to the courts, and basically everyone's saying, don't mention global warming, don't mention climate change, they don't care about that. All they care about is the economic standpoint, whether it's going to be profitable for them, and that's about it. And then it scans into this Republican who's standing there and just stares at the camera and blank stare says that global warming is a myth. There is no scientific background behind this. And it just makes you angry to see the ignorance of people and the fact that all they care about is the money and profiting themselves. They don't care about trashing the earth or funding something or allowing something that can actually benefit the earth, or anything like that. They're very anti-environmental. It's just frustrating. So emotions that I felt, just like that. Throughout it, like, it makes me happy. It gets me excited that there's people out there that are actually doing things to try and make this better, trying to figure out ways that just we as people can actually try and backtrack on the damage that we've done. And yes, there's these things like tires and plastic bottles, which are a major problem, and turning them into a source to make a sustainable home. Like, these sustainable homes are amazing. They basically, the base of them is made out of old tires that they pack with sand, and most tires are thermal, so they hold all the heat in. And then what they do is they take these plastic bottles and they cut them in half, and then they reverse it around and put the base of the bottle inside of it to make it more stable. And then they use these as bricks. And as they lay them down, they put concrete between them. And actually, once you get the movie, or once you actually see the houses afterwards with the plastic bottles and stuff, it actually looks like little stained glass windows. So you can, when the white light comes through, you can see all of these bright colors. It's pretty beautiful, actually. Um, yeah, so anger, happy, it's a whole mix of emotions as you're going through it. Just fascination about everything. But did it inspire me to do anything? Definitely. As it is, I mean, I recycle as much as I possibly can and do as much to reduce my garbage outtake. I do composting. I have my own garden. I reuse as much as I can. But what I would love to do is you can actually make these sustainable homes, but you don't have to make it into a home. You can do it as an all-season garden, so a greenhouse. And I mean, unfortunately, I rent right now. I've got a decent-sized backyard that I would love to build it in, but I'm sure my landlord would not appreciate that. But as I progress, and I would love to get a decent amount of land that I could be able to do something like this, if not even just the greenhouse. I mean, you can supply everything yourself. This can be an all-year thing where basically it's run on solar power if you want to. It doesn't have to be if you want electricity in there, but you don't need it. And you can make it with clear tops so that it still gets the sunlight, but it's all thermal protected, so it keeps everything, all of the heat in there, which is just amazing. And you can turn it into these beautiful oases, basically. That's what my goal is, and I would love to be able to teach other people about that. What are the purposes of environmental documentaries? To inform people, to spread the word about important messages. I mean, they're all about real life. I mean, depending on what documentary you're looking, some of them are pretty radical. But it's to inform people, basically, and I agree with that. It's a great way to inform people because it's all of the information that you can learn compressed into an hour and a half of information. And I mean, they're supposed to be intense. They're supposed to be blunt and deliver information just quickly, so that you can really see for what it actually is. I mean, it's always a one-sided thing generally. It's kind of hard to find an environmental documentary that's two-sided, but most of them are really good. And what do I think is the biggest environmental issue? Probably the reduction of our biodiversity, because it ties into a lot of our different issues as well. I mean, if you look at as our chain of species breaks down, I mean, they all lead to another. So, like, if our algae is gone, it can ruin, like, the plankton in the ocean, and that's a food source for whales. I mean, that can completely destroy our ocean ecosystems. So they all kind of tie into each other, and that is affected by our climate change and our mass pollution and our mass consumption of everything that people just assume that they need when they really don't, which is something I'm trying to work on, which is it's not easy, but I mean, realizing that those new pair of shoes, you don't need them, but you want them, so it's distinguishing between the two. But I feel like as we collapse our biodiversity, we're pretty much destroying everything that this world was built up around. If we don't have the smallest thing that's important, it's gonna make everything else up. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Garbage Warriors is an amazing documentary. I highly recommend watching it. Thanks for listening.